Hi, everyone watching. This is Michael Gaffner, the director of MaW Mediaworks, and I'm here to conduct an interview with medical professional General Surgeon Russ Lee. Is that right?
That's right.
All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about the coronavirus today.
hmm
First of all, tell us a little bit about what you do, Russ.
Well, I'm a general surgeon. I completed my residency in 1997, and I've been working as a general surgeon until about a year ago when I retired. And so now I work part time for the state of New York. Uh, so I'm not an infectious disease doctor, but I do, have a fundamental understanding of the coronavirus. I've been reading a lot about it since this all began.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the coronavirus. Now, coronavirus is commonly known as COVID-19. Can you tell us what that means exactly?
Well, it's sort of it's in 2015 the WHO, that's the World Health Organization, they wanted to get away from naming viruses after a location, such as Spanish flu, West Nile virus, et cetera, et cetera. And so they came up with a mandate that they would give them some other name that did not identify it with a place. So the coronavirus, it's an acronym. I can't remember what it's for, but Corona V something ID 19. It's a coronavirus. Corona is a family of viruses that is very common, actually. Most of the coronaviruses don't cause severe illness. This one does. It can cause very severe illness. And that's why it's called the what is it? The unique no, what is the name for it?
Novel.
Novel coronavirus, because it's different. It's novel. It's different than the other coronaviruses that have been seen so far.
So, with this virus being different, am I correct in assuming that the reason why the previous strains are less of a threat than this one, is it because this particular strain comes from animals, therefore meaning that humans don't have a natural resistance built to it?
Well, that's some of it, but I mean, what a lot of it is I mean, the coronaviruses, they're everywhere, and this one is one that's not been seen by humans before. So yeah, you're probably less resistant to it. Um, I mean, if you've ever had a cold, there's a likelihood you've had some type of coronavirus. If you've ever had an upper respiratory tract infection, a lot of those are caused by viruses in that corona family. This one is different. It probably did arise in an animal. Uh, there's been a lot of pressure on China to close. They have these wildlife markets in some cities where they sell wild animals, and people can take them home and do whatever they want with them, but they're taking home raw wild animals. And that is probably how it spread from being an animal virus, whatever the original animal was, to being a human virus. That somebody encountered it in one of these wild markets. They got sick from it. I mean, initially, with any coronavirus, or they're called zoonoses, these viruses that come from animals. But typically, what will happen is they'll spread to a human, and the humans can get it from the animals. But then ultimately, it changes, so it becomes be able to spread from human to human. And that's what happened with this virus. What the original animal vector was, we don't know at this time. People are saying bats, or there's some kind of something called a pangolin. I don't know if you've heard of that. It looks sort of like a armadillo, kind of. It's native to Asia, but apparently the scales of the pangolin are used in medicine. But at this point, that's speculation. The point is, it's here. It's infectious, and it spreads. I mean, the problem with this coronavirus is it spreads like a cold. I mean, anyone who has ever had a cold know how, or has worked anywhere, know one person in the office gets a cold, everyone has it in very short order. It's like that. However, has potential to be more lethal than your average cold. And that's why it's such a big deal. Because it'd be like, it spreads like a cold, but it can hurt you much more than your average, upper respiratory infection, and that's where the problem lies.
So why is it so important for people to self quarantine?
So the reason the self quarantine is to slow the transmission of the disease, uh, is to put it simply. And I mean, that's kind of what the goal is, as a community. This is something that can't be, won by the individual, and if you may feel, even rightfully so, that you're not going to get that sick from it, but you're going to get other people sick. And the thing is, you don't know who you might get sick. I mean, it could be, if you have any older relatives, friends who might not be that healthy to start with, and by going out and every contact is a potential, there's an opportunity for it to spread. So if you go out and you're around a lot of other people, each one of those contacts is an opportunity for either you to spread it to somebody or somebody else to spread it to you. We need to behave as if everyone has it at this point.
So, can you leave us with any professional advice on how to navigate the outbreak going forward?
Well, I'll tell you, this is for it's a bad disease. It's a bad public health problem, and the fact is, I think we're still pretty early on, and this is going to be a slog. I don't know how else to put it, and it's going to be difficult. But I think if we all, heed the recommendations of the professionals, Dr. Fauci, so far I've been watching him a lot on the news and reading what he says, and he's been somebody who's been very straightforward and direct and gives you good information. Cuomo, I mean, I don't know enough to say if, okay, I mean, it's possible that this might be an overreaction on the part of the government. It's possible. Do I think that's the case? No, I think they're behaving appropriately. But I think in this situation where it's a question of life and death, it's better to overreact than to underreact. And I really just think that people should, listen to the recommendations of the professionals. Dr. Fauci, who's with the NIH, National Institutes of Health. I would listen to what he has to say. I would discount also, another thing to be careful about is there's a lot of information out there that's just totally without any basis. I saw something where if you gargle with salt water, it prevents you from getting the virus or transmitting the virus or getting real sick from it, which is total bullshit. And there's a lot of other things out there that are just not true, like something about holding your breath for 10 seconds. I mean, if you can do that, it means you don't have the virus. Nonsense. And there's a lot of nonsense out there. I'd be very careful in who I would listen to. The CDC has a website you can go to, and they can, it's a good website. It'll be truthful information. I mean, in this era, there's just so many people. Anybody with a phone can put out information that, it can be look very professional and seem sensible, but I mean, there's a lot of crap out there. I'd be very careful about that, and I would just listen to, pick a good source of information, such as the CDC website, or actually that would probably be the best one. I'm not gonna get political and say one news site is better than the other, because I don't think that's helpful. But you can go right directly to the source, CDC website, and they'll be able to they'll be able to they'll be able to provide you with good information on what you should do. And I would just listen at this point and avoid gathering with a lot of people, avoid going out as much as possible. And it's going to be hard. It is going to be difficult. There's no two ways about it.
Is there anything that you personally want to say for navigating the outbreak, for how to behave, how to do it? Anything you haven't already said that you want to say?
No, not really. I mean, it's difficult. There's things that, I mean, it's been very difficult. I like to go out. I like to go out to dinner, maybe have a drink. We're not able to do that. And it's difficult, and I feel bad for the people who aren't able to work now because of that.
So, and this one's just kind of off the record here. You think we were right in delaying our film shoot?
Yeah, yeah, probably.